Welcome to the Fans Edge Sports Show, hosted by 216 Mike and EG Laflare, also produced by Walt K Disney. This is a college football show with a this is a sports show with a college football focus that allows fans to join the discussion and create topics. So make sure you're subscribing to all of our social media platforms at the Fans Edge on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all of that, man. What's going on with you, EG, man? How was your week?
What's going on, man? Bad week for me as a Hog fan, but caught a lot of football this weekend to make up for it, just to watch some good ball, man.
Yeah, man, we definitely had some good ball. Honestly, man, the Arkansas game was very entertaining. It was a defensive game, and what was it? The final score was what 13-10.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a good game, man, and we'll get into another good game that we actually had previewing. But man, I want to talk to you about this team up north at Michigan State tunnel update, the police investigation into the scuffle into the team up north stadium has been turned over to the county prosecutor's office for review.
Mm.
So I guess this is one thing the team up north fans have not let this go. I don't know if you know about John Bacon, but he's just a huge team up north historian and all of that stuff. And he has not let this go. He's upset that the Big Ten has not gotten involved, but it's like both sides did what they were supposed to do, handled the situation correctly by suspending these guys indefinitely and things like that. Like, I mean, what else is the Big Ten supposed to do? Because the punishment's already been handled down. And just like the NCAA will not impose a sanction on you if they feel like your self-imposed penalty or whatever is warranted. So I don't
Right.
understand. Like, I mean, it was kids. I understand like it was a bad situation or whatever, but these were kids in emotional situations. I don't think that someone should just be now a criminal or a felon or anything like that just for a dust up.
Man, I don't know. I don't know what's the next step that you can take in this situation. I mean, there's so many people involved. There's a lot of players, and what's the next step to take? Like, what are some of the actions that the Big Ten could take?
Yeah, I mean now it's in the hands of the police. So I
Right.
mean, there's nothing for the Big Ten or anybody to do now. It's in the hands of the police, man. Um, you know, this isn't a big game, but I'm glad it happened because it showed this team is flawed and should have been out of the top 25. Like I have been saying almost all season, right? Vanderbilt wins their first SEC game since 2019 against number 24 Kentucky. Vanderbilt scored the game-winning touchdown with 32 seconds left and won 24-21, man. I didn't get a chance to watch this game. There was a whole lot more important games on than that one at the time. But I mean, for Vandy to go ahead and get that win, I think that this also should let people know when you're out here projecting these quarterbacks and things like that, and you want to talk about this guy and hype him up all preseason just because someone got him on the big board or whatever. Like that system can be flawed as well, right?
Right, right. But my thing is this. I really think that the blame of that game goes to Kentucky defense. I also heard Mel Kiper say that, those games are not going to hurt Levis's draft stock for some reason. The guys like him. I saw him when he was warming up. The commentators were he was warming up for that last game. The commentators was just still raving over how the ball comes out of his hand, how he has a cannon. And I think his NFL stock is still very much alive, even though Kentucky as a team has fallen so far. This is a team that was, I think, ranked as high
Right.
as number 7 this year, and they have fallen so far off. I mean, the beginning of that schedule can be kind of in your favor, man, but when when you start playing a lot of games and bruising up in conference and knocking each other down, the real identity comes out. And man, Kentucky has fallen so far this year.
Yeah, and this is what
Fallen
I
so
was
far.
saying, man. They're a flawed team, and when you can't correct those flaws, and then you start having the issues, and what you start to see is you don't have depth, and that's Kentucky's issue. But also, I do want to say this about Will Levis, man. He posted a QBR of like 15.5, had a interception, and his completion percentage was just barely above 50%.
Mm.
So I mean, I know how the NFL guys work. They'd be like, "Oh, it was the college coach. It's the NFL. We got all this juice. We can make this guy into something." And it's just sometimes, man, like when they don't got it, they just don't got it. But
Yeah, I mean, when you look at him passing the ball, though, man, you know, he can sling it, and he has that size. He's got that build like Josh Allen. He's not as quite as tall, but he has that bulky build. He can run the ball if need be, and he can throw it pretty well. I mean, sometimes I don't think the best talent is around him in Kentucky, but I think there's some potential for him there. Not saying it's
oh yeah, he'd be
it's
a good NFL backup for sure.
yeah, I'm not saying that he's worthy of a great QB, but there's some potential there because also I remember Patrick Mahomes had hell of a stats at Texas Tech, but they didn't win too many games.
Yeah, but
So,
he was still an accurate quarterback. And that's the
yeah,
thing that I have not seen from Will Levis is being an accurate, consistent quarterback.
okay.
And that's my biggest issue with him, man. But let's go ahead into our two games that we went ahead and picked for last week with our week 11 recap, man. We had number 4 TCU going on the road to Austin, number 18 Texas, man. For Texas folks, it was a cold game out there, man. 6:30 game, and I know here in the DFW area, that game it was actually like the high was 50, so I know like the low is like around in the 30s or so. But I mean, again, we just see Quinn Ewers continue to struggle. Texas continue to struggle. I mean, I'm not going to put all the blame on this kid, man. You're asking this guy playing primetime games, and yes, he was in college last year, but it's only because he reclassified, right? Like this is actually a true freshman year for Quinn Ewers, so you're going to see them type of mistakes. I will say this: I do want to give it to Texas defense, man, because they came alive. They only held TCU to 17 points, and Max Duggan leads that conference with the most passing touchdowns. And Texas defense was getting in the backfield, making Max Duggan feel completely uncomfortable, man. And TCU ends up coming out with the win, 17-10. What do you think about this game, man?
Man, hats off to both teams' defense, man. The teams were playing. I mean, at one point in time, I was watching the game. It was around halftime. The score was 3-0, and you just got to applaud both defenses, and they held their own. And when the game started to unfold, I saw a lot of busted zone coverages from Texas. I saw a lot of gambling, and that guy Quentin Johnston, he's probably one of the top five wide receivers in college football. Man, the guy shows up every single week, and I saw a busted zone play that allowed the last touchdown on Texas. The guys just kind of gambled on the play and left the man wide open for a touchdown.
All
So
right.
it was just kind of a they held defense for a while and then it eventually broke. They were in some bad zones. I think Texas was running 3D zones most of the game and it ended up breaking. And you left the best man on the field, the best wide receiver on the field, wide open for the final score in that game. So, but credit to both of those teams, man. I think TCU has a stronger defense than people know. And I think Texas defense was playing well as well. But hats off to TCU, man. It looks like they want to get in the playoffs.
Yeah, man. I mean, right there. I mean, they still got a Baylor coming down, I believe, in their schedule, and we'll see who they end up facing in the Big 12 championship game. But like we talked about, man, the Big 12 has been a gauntlet this year, man.
Ooh,
They really have had a pretty good conference. Um,
absolutely.
and then the big time game, man. I mean, honestly, I thought that Alabama versus Ole Miss, I thought that Bama would, take care of this handily, right? I'm like,
Hmm.
obviously, Ole Miss don't really got no quarterback, but the fact is they were able to get things going on the running game on Bama. I thought that was pretty shocking. I don't know if Bama's just spirit is crushed or you know have they given up? But I was kind of shocked to see that this was a pretty close game. Bama only winning 30-24. And I will say this: the last drive, like for like winning the game, right, for Ole Miss or whatever, Lane Kiffin's play calling was so suspect.
And my thing is Lane Kiffin. He's a guy. He loves to run, loves to pass the ball. When you think of
Mm-hmm.
Lane Kiffin offense, you think of spread. And
Right.
sometimes he gets lost in whether he should go back to that. Even though his bread and butter is the running the ball this year, he
Yeah.
gets kind of lost in what to do. Jackson Dart, I think he kind of passed the ball a little too much. And they were running at crucial times of the game. Hats off to them. They ran very well. But just Dart, man, he's not that guy that you would imagine in a Kiffin type offense. He's not that gunslinger that Kiffin is used to having. And sometimes I think that's messing up the flow of the offense. But hey, they were running the ball, man. It just came down to Alabama. They scored on their last opportunity and they stopped Ole Miss right in the red zone for the last play.
Yeah.
It was a good game.
And here's the crazy part, man. I'm looking at these stats, right? Ole Miss ran for 191 yards, had 212 yards receiving. They they had more rushing yards than Bama. They had
Hmm.
more receiving yards than Bama. Like
Yeah.
it's like so when you go and you just like if you take the score out, you just look, you like, dang, man. And I do want to say, man, Bryce Young, he still showed
Woo.
why he's a first round draft pick, man. His O line was doing him no favors. His wide receivers were doing him no favors, and it just sucks that he's that team is having this type of season or whatever because he is an elite talent.
Yeah, man. Heck of a play to seal that game by Bryce Young. The move he put on the edge rusher, and what's going on, my guy? Ole Miss should have stuck with the running. And yeah, man.
I
But
agree.
heck of a game by Bryce Young, man. I just feel like Alabama has no identity this year. I think they're very vulnerable right now. A good team could beat them, and it's going to be a challenge for them in the SEC championship game. And I
But
just
Bama
don't know
ain't
the
going. Oh, you think
yeah.
Bama ain't going? Ole Miss would have had to
There's
lose 2 games.
there's a possibility because I feel like Ole Miss is overrated, but like I said, whoever goes, I don't know if anyone can beat Georgia. Let's
No,
just put it that way. I don't know if
no.
anyone in the SEC can beat Georgia right now. So whether if it's LSU or Ole Miss, I don't know which team can compete better with Georgia. But yeah, Alabama has no identity right now.
Right. Well, man, in our picks for this, man, I want to say we both went 1-1, man. I went against TCU, so I took that L, and but we did pick it right with Bama. Both of us did. I didn't get Disney's picks in here, but I'm sure she picked Bama, and she probably I don't know if she picked Texas though because you know um,
she
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 been
might have
rooting
picked
for the
Texas.
she been rooting for the Sooners lately, so I don't
Yeah.
know, man.
Hey, and shout out my guy, man. My guy, Tim. He's in here, man. Georgia fan. He's supposed to
Yeah,
come through and drop through in the show today, man. Tell us how he's feeling about Georgia chances this year.
for sure, man. I would definitely when we get to the TFE fan corner, man, we want to hear that with all our final takes, man. Um, well, getting into our Week 12 preview, I was searching through the games, and I'm like, man, there's not going to be any ranked matchups. Man, there are no ranked matchups. They're all in the Pac-12, man. They're all in
Pac-12
the
is
Pac-12.
hey,
Yes.
that's a good conference right now, and it's coming down to that final stretch too. So
Yeah.
hey, the Pac-12, that's a good football conference, man.
Yeah. Here's the thing that's about to make me upset though. Because I couldn't find what station or what network this USC versus UCLA game was going to be on, right? I couldn't find it. So I'm guessing it's going to be on the Pac 12 network, which I
Mm.
just think is dumb. I think that the Pac 12, like, this is the reason why they haven't done themselves any favors
Get a
because
TV deal.
The Pac 12 network is not like nationwide at
It's not.
all.
It's not.
Like the Big Ten network, nationwide. SEC network,
Right.
nationwide. ACC network, nationwide. Like,
Right.
come on, man. But we got this game. It's a 7 p.m. kickoff. Caleb Williams had a game. We know Thompson Robinson. He's been having himself a game. Has been battling some injuries and things like that. And this is at UCLA's home. Really, it's both of their homes because they're both Southern California schools. Anyways,
Hmm.
but I mean, I'm expecting UCLA to just go ahead and show and remind everybody what type of team that they are and that they are still in contention. I think USC is going to end up taking their L, and I mean that might go ahead and do it for the Pac-12 being out of the playoffs, man.
Mm.
I'm going to go with that, man. UCLA is winning this game against Caleb Williams. I seen what they did to Colorado, but UCLA is not Colorado.
Man, hey man, I really like the Pac-12. I wish their games wasn't so late, but it's at least 4, 5 teams, man, that's balling right now. And look at Oregon falling to Washington. Washington's been a really good team all year, even though they have some questionable losses. It's just like they're still a great team, and
Right.
and it's really deep right now with that UCLA, Utah, USC, Oregon, Washington. I think those guys they're beating each other up, man. And but I got USC in this game, and I don't know if UCLA has the defense to stop that offense that USC has out there. USC's
Right.
got a amazing offense. They got a great running back. They have at least 3 wide receivers that we could see in the NFL one day. I just feel like USC's offense will be hard to stop, and UCLA got to prove to me they can stop it. I got USC in that game.
Yeah, man. I just tell you this. I got no faith in Alex Grinch's defense, man. And the one thing that I do know about a Lincoln Riley system, man, when they face any competent defense, they don't score that
Yeah,
many points, man. And
yeah.
I know Alex Grinch is known for getting points put on his head. Um, Going into our next game, man, we got Utah versus Oregon. Oregon is coming off of a loss to Washington, man. Former Indiana Hoosier quarterback Michael Penix coming through with the upset victory. And he just looked amazed, bro, in that game. And I'll tell you why I feel like he just looked amazed in that game. It's because this is a guy his first year on that team, and it looked like he just commanded the respect of the whole team. He was getting on his players, hyping them up, talking to them, like showing real leadership on that team. And I believe that that's what drove them past Oregon. And this is why I kind of feel like USC is going to probably take that L to UCLA is because you come off of these high games, right? You just had a blowout win. You think you king-ish or whatever, and you might decide take it a little slow. And we know, these kids' mentalities, man. They just like, hey, this might be a cakewalk and everything, but I mean, Utah is known for having a defense, right?
Right,
Um, we seen Bo Nix
mm,
not being the most consistent, right? I
right.
think Utah is known for this. You got my guy Clark Phillips over there on Utah. They got a good running game over there, and I believe what Utah is going to do is keep the ball out of Oregon's hands. So Oregon's not going to have many chances to score. Their defense is going to have to also keep them in this game. This might be a low scoring game in this one, but I'm gonna pick Utah to pull it off, man. Oregon, they were riding. They just figured, hey, we got to win this, win out, and now they're realizing their season is crushed. Their season
Mm.
is over. How do you bounce back from this? Some of them guys might say, hey, man, I might just be shutting it down. We ain't got no chance. I might just shut it down and get ready for the NFL. So, I mean, because some of them guys are going to be thinking about that or getting their affairs in order. So,
Yeah, man, shout out Michael Penix Jr. Like you said, had 408 yards against Oregon. Just came out there and outdid Bo Nix. Bo Nix had about 200 yards and a few rushing yards. He couldn't have his way with those guys. 37-34 final. But man, in this Oregon game, man, I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna go with Oregon, man. I feel like they bounced back this week. I feel like Utah has been a great team. They play some great games. They have the better defense on paper. They definitely have the better defense. But I just like that it factor that Bo Nix has. He comes out with swagger. Ever since that Georgia loss, the guy was riding a wave, man. I'm gonna go with Bo Nix and his ability to just get in the end zone, man. I think these guys and it won't be an easy game, like you said. I can see the games, them scoring around 20 points apiece. But hey, if I got to bet my money, I'm gonna bet my money on Bo Nix coming through and bouncing back after that terrible loss, taking him out the playoffs. He's a vet though, so I don't feel like he's gonna be the one that folds. I feel like he's the one. He'll be one of the ones still fighting for a chance, and maybe he's trying to get his draft stock up, or maybe he's trying to look better because the guy has something about him, even though his NFL intangibles are kind of questionable when you're looking for an NFL quarterback. But the guy has something about him that
yeah.
just makes them win games. And I just want to see if he'll bounce back against Utah, which is a great defense.
And I might have to correct myself because I don't want people thinking that I'm saying like Bo Nix was a bad quarterback or the reason that
Right, right,
like he did have like a good game like throwing wise, but it was just talking about Bo Nix for the Heisman and things like that when he needed to have that Heisman moment, when he needed to show that he could separate himself from others, he didn't do that.
right.
So that's
Absolutely.
just that was just my thing on that,
And
man.
they also had a different game plan in that game against Washington for some reason, man. They ran the ball for 50 times. Two guys
Right.
had over 20 carries. Even Bo Nix carries the ball 10 times. So they kind of came out with a different game plan that week, and it kind of didn't work. So
Yeah. Well, man, it's one of my favorite times of the show, man. Getting into game balls, brother. I mean, who do you got for your game balls, man?
man, I got the freshman, man, from LSU, man. The guy disrupted the whole game, and I have to find his name. His name was, what was his, Perkins, Harold Perkins. So I'm gonna go with Harold Perkins from LSU, man. Really disrupted our game. We using a new quarterback, and the guy had 4 sacks, some tackle for losses. He had I wish I could bring up his exact stat line from that game, but I know he had a game similar to that Ohio State guy, man. He sacked our quarterback 4 times, and this guy's a freshman. They say he ran a 4x1 in high school. He can run a 4.40.
Mm,
So man, he came and disrupted that entire game. He put pressure on our quarterback, and it was just an amazing game. He took it over by himself single handedly. So I'm going with Harold Perkins, man. Shout out to him.
I got you, man. I gotta go with my guy, man. I gotta be a homer, man. I mean, I feel like I should have been picking him sooner, but I try not to be a homer. And I gotta go with my guy Marvin Harrison Jr., man. He had 7 receptions, 135 yards, and a 19.3 average, 1 touchdown in the 58 yard reception was his longest. And the reason why I gotta pick him, and one day we will get to this where we can actually go ahead and show highlights or whatever of our game ball guys, right? But the
Right.
reason why I have to pick him is because this guy's a freaking alien, bro. I have
That
not
catch,
seen
that
you
one
did
catch was
this.
insane.
This guy should have been out of bounds.
He,
And we're
how did
talking
he get
about
that foot down?
99% of wide receivers don't catch this ball and get a foot in. This
Right,
man's coming down, and it doesn't even look like he's. And I don't even understand how he got that foot down because he wasn't even supposed to be falling that way. But somehow
right.
his body control is ridiculous to where he torqued his body just to get that 1 foot down for that catch, man. And
Amazing.
I mean, honestly, right now he's a Bolitnikoff candidate, and I don't see a wide receiver better than this guy. Like
My
from
question
when
to
you're
you
talking
is
about overall game,
right.
complete wide receiver, and from what I'm hearing, the NFL scouts are drooling over him. Like literally, if he was to come out this year, he'd be the number one wide receiver taken off the board
Absolutely.
for
So,
the NFL, and he's
my
only a true
question,
sophomore. What's up?
my question to you is: do you think he's better than Jackson Smith and Jigba?
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
And you know, Jackson Smith, even though
Yes.
he's had a rough year, he's still top five on the draft board as far as wide receivers go. He's still top five.
Yeah.
And you're saying
He
Marvin
he
Harrison
he
is
would
even
be
better
picked.
than him?
Marvin would be picked before him. And and
Woo!
and here and here's the thing, because I heard so much coming out of camps from like different sources and things like this. And when you was watching if you was watching the Indiana game, right, they were talking about him. They were talking about his what, running 23 miles per hour, bench pressing like 335 pounds or something. Like there's talks that he might break the record for wide receivers on the bench press at the combine.
He's that strong. The guy was born
This,
to play football.
this,
His dad never
yeah,
had that size or
nope,
that strength, and this is crazy how he's got everything plus more. His dad just had the will to be a great wide receiver. His dad was just that route running ability, playing with one of the best quarterbacks to play the game. And we grew up on him. And to see Marvin
yeah.
Harrison Jr.
I
come
have
in
his
like that,
jersey still,
that's amazing, man.
but I mean, like that it's just crazy to see, and it's amazing what this guy is doing, man. Shout out to him, shout out to his family. And here's the thing, because my guy Chris Drew from Minutes to Sports, he pointed this made this point out. He said Marv has a long torso, which allows him to move his feet and his body as if he's like a slot wide receiver.
Mm,
So
yeah.
most guys like that, when they have to make a cutback, they need an extra couple steps, right? He
Hmm.
doesn't have to. So
Mm.
that also gives him the ability. I'm really excited to see his future. I don't even think that, even though what we've seen, we haven't even seen this guy ceiling, and I think that that's what's scary about this guy, and that's why I say he's the best wide receiver in college football right now, man.
Marvin Harrison Jr. is 6'4", 205, by the way.
Yeah,
Sheesh.
yeah, and his dad's not a big guy. His dad
His
wasn't a
dad was
big
like
guy. Like,
6 foot. His dad was
yeah,
like 6 foot.
if that,
Right.
probably with cleats on.
Right. So, hey,
Yeah,
bright future for that kid.
yeah, man. All right, we got some stuff in the chat, man. We got absolutely. I feel LSU is a little similar to us, though.
Mm,
Who
that's the
is that? Is
UGA
he?
fan.
He's
That's
a
a UGA
Georgia?
fan.
Ah,
Yeah.
nah. LSU. Stetson is a better quarterback. Harold Perkins game
Game
was
was a flu.
called
He
flu
had the
game.
flu. He had the flu. Hey, the guy
My
went crazy.
shout out to my guy Toast. He over here talking go blue, that team up north. Salute Mike.
Salute,
What's
Mike.
up? What's up, Toast,
Hey,
man? Hey, I'm telling you, I think for that game, I'm literally gonna probably be doing a show, whether it's 15 minutes, whether it's 30 minutes, but I'm doing a show all week. We're one day we're going to talk about offense versus defense, defense versus offense.
Hey,
We might
you
start
need to
off with
talk Blake
the history
Corum.
of the rivalry. Then we're going to talk key matchups. I mean, we're definitely gonna have a whole week dedicated to the game, man. My guy Toe said Marvin need to go
He'll be a
to a good system. I mean, honestly, man, that man's catch radius, the way he be catching them balls, bro, like it don't matter if this guy has gotten people literally jumping on his back, and he just still catching the ball. I don't know how, but I don't think it's the system. If the quarterback can get the ball around him, that's just one of those wide receivers that you can put up a 50-50 ball and you like he coming down with it 9 times out of 10, you know? So hey, we got another push for Heisman, talking about Blake Corum for Heisman.
Blake Corum is
And I
the
mean,
man. He
if
is
he
the man.
if he has his game November 26th and comes out with the W, he will definitely put himself in New York. And then he'd probably have an amazing Big Ten championship game as well. And I mean, really, sometimes like the votes some people already put their votes in by then. But I do want to say this because I've been seeing Blake Corum get a little bit hobbled, get a little bit gimpy, and it's
Yeah.
starting to come into that last stretch. And I just remember, like Kenneth Walker, he was able to go into that one big game and come out of it against that team up north last year. But then he went into another big game against Ohio State, and he could not finish that game. He was hurt. Like you could tell he wasn't able to run the same or any of those things, man. I'm hoping that, they could do some load management and show that they can win the game, not just off of his back, but off of other people's back.
Give
So,
Donovan Edwards more
yeah,
carries.
man. I mean, and to be honest, bro, like as many times as they run the ball, like this dude averages like 20 to 25 carries per game, right?
Oh yeah.
Like as much as he's running it, he could take the day off and still be in the Heisman contending and still have the stats. Literally.
Oh yeah.
So my UGA fan said that he is looking through the 2021 goggles and he sees that team up north beating OSU. Hey,
And
man, hey
also
family, I need
Fantastic
you to come
Six.
into 2022. Stop looking
Yeah.
at this through your 2021 goggles, fam.
Hey, my guy Georgia fan say he see Michigan beating Ohio State as well. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Hey, man. Hey, I love it. I want all the smoke. I'm
Okay.
keeping
You
all the
want the smoke
receipts.
now. You already
I
know who I
want it.
got winning that game.
I want it. Okay, man. So it look like we over here into our final takes, man. And this is where me and EG go ahead, get into some debates, say some fiery things that some people might disagree with, man. And then this is where we also allow people to come onto the show. So if you see the link, make sure you hit the link and come on in, man.
Come on in, man.
Yeah. So EG, what is this take that you're having?
I mean, you know,
Why are
I
you
got
jumping on this blue bandwagon, bro?
I got
Why?
Michigan. I got Michigan winning that game. I can't see you guys. Everyone knows Michigan is running the ball. No one has been able to just stuff it. And you guys are saying, yeah, our defense is better this year, but is it good enough?
Mm,
Is it that defense? You can put 8 men in the box. Are you gonna stop it? And
mm.
then JJ McCarthy, he's out there running the ball a little bit. He's not passing the ball a lot. I know
I was waiting. I was
his
waiting. I'm
passing
about to
game. No,
cut.
it's just he just won't do it. But hey, he's building up for a hell of a game to play action and throw it deep. But hey, if you guys say your defense is ready this year, I'm listening, man. But everyone knows Blake Corum is getting the ball. Everyone knows
Yeah.
these guys are running the ball, but no one is stopping it.
Yeah, man. So
I got
I
those
was
guys
watching
doing the
them.
same.
Yeah, I was watching them against Nebraska, right? And I was seeing when Nebraska was stuffing it, it was because their guys were gap sound. They caught
Mm-hmm.
a lot when they started breaking runs was when Nebraska was getting out of their gaps. And one thing that I can say, because we saw it for some reason, Ohio State had the second string guys getting more snaps than our starters. But what I saw in that Northwestern game was our second string guys, like they were putting them out there as a second string unit, right? But those guys weren't gap sound. And that's when Northwestern would get those runs and those big pops. But we put our starters out there, they were gap sound. And that's what I'm looking for in this game. And I tell you this, right? If Ohio State gets a double-digit lead on that team up north, they're not coming back from that. Blake, because they will have now been off schedule, and you're not going to be able to trust JJ McCarthy to bail you out. They have no passing game. Michigan State's defense has been one of the worst passing games for the past 2 years. And they had their passing game looking like world beaters. Same thing with Rutgers. That was crazy. Same thing with Nebraska. Like, and now their fans are having meltdowns on the board because they're sitting there like, oh, we don't got no passing game. Oh my God. Like, I hope that they can figure it out within these next 2 weeks. It's too
So,
late.
so what you're saying is you guys will be able to pass the ball all over Michigan?
We will be able to. Oh yes. I have no faith in their DBs. They do have a really good front seven. Yes. But when it comes to their DBs or their linebackers in the passing game, no, they are not keeping up with us at all. They're actually Jackson Smith and Jigba is supposed to be back for that game. And if he's back, they're definitely not keeping up with him or Marv. It's pick your poison. Marv or JSN.
I've been seeing CJ Stroud start a little bit slow, man. I just hope he's hitting on all cylinders
Oh
to
man,
start that game, just to
yeah,
start that game.
yeah. No, he had his slow start against Northwestern and everything like that. You know, with the 50 mile per hour gust, the winds and things like that. But you know, everybody was coming after that Northwestern game talking about, oh, Ohio State, if they have to play in weather or whatever, they're not going to be able to compete with that team up north.
Y'all should
Guess
be the
what?
one team that's used to playing in
But
weather.
guess what? In their game against a team that's better than Northwestern, guess what? It snowed and it rained.
Mm.
No issue.
Would that put an effect on the passing game? You guys would
No,
have to go to
it had no effect on the passing game whatsoever. It
nice. So
what
so
has effect on the passing game is when you're throwing a football in 50 mile per hour gusts, and it was also on record that sometimes the gusts got up to 80 miles per hour. What that does is you might be throwing that ball to a certain spot,
of
but
course, yeah.
now that ball moves. Now that not only and also that's one thing that our wide receivers came out and said. He was like, we were expecting the ball to come to a certain spot, but then you see the wind move it. And that led to a lot of the drops, a lot of the fingertip drops, things like that. But you know, I'm not about making excuses. I'm about getting the dub, and that's what my team has done. That's what they showed. I did like what Ohio State did, and like I've been saying, I've told people, Ohio State literally was doing this in all of these games, working on this working on this outside zone stuff. Well, guess what they did in this game? They went north, south on these guys, punched them right down in their mouth, and then that opened up the outside zones and things like that. And that's what our offensive line is. It's the biggest offensive line in the nation. Ohio State's offensive line. You cannot ask these guys to be running horizontal. They need to go up and down, man.
Yeah, 1 second. I had to send this link to someone. But man, I would like to see it all come together for you guys because I got
Oh yeah.
Michigan.
That's
I got
fine, man.
Michigan.
I want everybody to hop on the blue train because when Ohio State wins that game, it will 2021 will forever be known as the false hope game for that
What
team
was
up
the
north.
weather like in that game again?
It was snowing.
Mm,
It was snowing.
snowy,
Yeah.
snowy. Their game lines up with snow a little better than y'all's game.
But I'll tell you this. You said you're worried about Ohio State starting slow, but what about that team up north starting slow? Because they have in all of their games.
And my thing is this
And
though.
they've been either like tied, they've been either tied or trailing. And then I think I want to say the one time that they were leading, like in the last 5 or 4 games, like the times that they were leading, it wasn't by a big margin either.
I
And
mean,
that's against inferior opponents.
in the best team they've played, which was Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess you can call that a slow start, but I don't for a team that's running the ball, I don't consider that a slow start. I think they had the score was 16 to 14 at halftime. But they finished with 41 points in that game. This is a team that's running the ball. So I'm not expecting a bunch of points like you guys. I am from you guys and what was supposed to be the best offense in the nation this year.
I'm
So
not
it's just
talking about just points, man. I mean, go if you
yeah,
if
I
you go
mean,
back and look at that game. I mean, even their rush game was getting stuffed by Nebraska in the first half. Like,
oh,
um,
I didn't catch this last matchup, Michigan versus Nebraska. I didn't catch it.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean if you said they're starting slow, I understand that too. But like I said, I feel like a team that runs the ball have those type of games. I feel like it's expected because they're not out there slinging the ball. Some days, 8 in the box is gonna stop you sometimes. You know, when they pile guys in the box, it's gonna stop you sometimes. But when you guys have all these weapons out there and all these first round draft pick guys and this quarterback for Heisman, I don't
uh huh.
expect a slow start.
I got you. I got you. I will say this, right? So if Rutgers able to slow them down and things like that, right? If Rutgers can do that for a half, and obviously that team up north superiority or whatever. What's going on, boss? And so that team
Going
up
on.
north superiority would end
Yeah.
up taking over in the second half, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that their superiority is going to be able to take over the second half against the Ohio State team?
I just feel like the guys want that game.
I
That's
got
what
you.
it's just that it's that rivalry feeling. The guy they feel like the underdog even this year, even after winning, because I'm pretty sure I see how their fans talk on Twitter and stuff.
They
They feeling like
crazy.
the underdog. They're feeling like the underdog, and they feel like, yeah, y'all don't. No one thinks we can beat Ohio State. I feel like they want to prove it again, and I feel
Okay.
like you guys better watch out. But let's engage in my guy Tim and his Georgia fan, man. How do you think Georgia finishes this year? Are you guys winning a national championship this year? Is when he get his earphones together. Fantastic Six.
He just went back on mute. He was unmuted.
Unmute your mic.
There we go. What's going on, boss?
What's going on, Tim? Can you hear? You can't hear.
He can't hear us.
This guy's a TikTok superstar, by the way. He
That's what's
has over 20,000 followers on TikTok. He's a UGA dog. He's going crazy.
Is he? Tim, are you on your computer? If it's possible, EG, text him because if he's on his computer,
Um, Tell him what.
if he's on his computer, then he would have to change his sound inputs
Yeah.
on the
Uh,
computer, or actually the sound inputs from the StreamYard as well. Yeah. So while we're working on getting Tim in, man, you know, uh, we got TCU. TCU is looking like they're going to be holding that fourth spot strong. So right now you're looking like Georgia at number one, right?
Yeah.
We're looking at the Big Ten winner at number two, or in the playoffs. We could just say that'll be the second team. If TCU
Hmm.
wins out, they'll be the third team. So who's going to be the fourth team? Because you got Clemson, you got Tennessee, you got
I think
Clemson, and then you got Tennessee. So like, let's say Clemson wins out, right? Should they go in as a conference champ ahead of Tennessee, even though
I I,
Tennessee only losses to the number one team?
I think Tennessee safely gets in because Tennessee, they're not going to lose another game, and they're safe from playing in that SEC championship. They don't have that tough battle, so I feel like they ride the wave and enter into that last spot, especially how they're going to beat their last few opponents. Clemson, man, nah, I don't even want to see those guys get up there and give anyone in the playoffs an easy matchup.
All
That's
right,
something that.
my guy Toe said his defense is 117 and 3 in the second half. Yeah, we agree. Your defense definitely y'all take over in the second half, man. My biggest thing is that first half, you know? I, you ain't running the ball like that on my team, Toast. All right.
Yeah, I told Tim he can
I
catch
can't
next.
hear.
Can you hear Tim? You good now?
I can't hear.
Still can't hear him.
His thing on the other side.
Yeah, I don't know. His it's muted.
They say he unmuted on here.
Can't get Mike to work. But yeah, I told him he can catch the next show and we'll try it again.
Yeah. We ain't done. And then also, Tim, what we can do is we can schedule something during the week and then literally have like a whole Georgia breakdown and break it down the rest of the season and into the playoffs as well. I
Right.
definitely want to start doing that. I want to start breaking down a lot of these top teams, and then especially when the college football playoff rankings is final, I want to break down, every single one of those teams as well. And we know Georgia's going to be in there for sure. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm gonna tell him catch next show. I'm gonna say,
Hey, Tim, man, we hold on. He got the private chat over here. Okay, yeah, Tim. Yeah,
okay.
we're gonna get my guy Tim in here next week or sometime soon, man. And we're gonna let him break down and give you guys more in depth. Because one thing that like, even though we talk all college football and things like that, one thing that I like to do is I like to talk to people who actually know their team, because I've learned so much from
Right.
getting my, like, man, I found out things I probably shouldn't about other people's teams, because
Man, what? You sit in those Miami chats and
I've been
those
networking and
man,
everything,
those chats,
and
you
people
learn a
have been
lot.
like, I've been sitting here have my one thought on the narrative, and then they're
Right.
like, no, here they know I won't expose what they gave me, but I'm talking about
Right.
actual inside information. So definitely, like, and here's another thing, because everybody always gets their info from ESPN. Go to people who actually brings in the local beat writers or pays attention to those local beat writers, because those local beat writers is going to know way more than these national pundits, man.
Right, right. And
These national pundits don't know anything. What they're doing is they're taking some story or some headline and they're changing it into their own narrative.
right, right. And the same way, just living in Athens, Georgia, man, I hear a lot about the dogs. Even though I'm not a dog fan, I keep it to myself, but I hear a lot. And it's that local aspect of it. And I really like that. And I like to know teams, man. Like I said, I get in spaces and listen to guys talk. We're in a big college group chat and you hear all these recruiting news and these things they're
Mm-hmm.
doing to sway players. It's really the fun part of college football, and I like to hear it. And I hate that we don't have that type of source. It's like my Arkansas Razorbacks. It's like everyone is close knit. The fan base is not like they're not reaching out and expressing themselves on social media the right way. It's just everyone's just content and they complain and things like that. But it's like we don't have a big age group of guys like us who are willing
Mm-hmm.
to stick their neck out and talk about things and actually say what's going on. They just like the sunshine pump things and
Yeah, I know exactly
you
what
know
you
what I
mean.
mean? They just
Hey,
go get the
but
next one, guys, the positivity talk and we don't I want to win.
and here's the thing, because I do have that in some of the beat writers or whatever for Ohio State. They
Right.
do that type of stuff as well. Some of them,
They
but they're
some of them it's
doing
like
it
that's their
because it's like
brand.
they're scared to lose their credentials.
Absolutely, exact. It's like that's their brand. That's what they support. They don't want to say the wrong thing. They don't feel like they won't come out and say, "Oh, this coach needs to be gone." No, they'll just
Right.
sunshine pop them. Oh, this wasn't the best, and
Yeah.
the player didn't do that. Man, our offensive coordinator has been horrible lately.
Hey,
He's using the same game plan with all three quarterbacks.
you sound like me last year with my defense,
Man,
bro. I'm
man,
telling you, man.
it's
I
tough going through
understand.
this, man.
I
Tough
understand,
going
man.
through it.
Yeah, bro. But I'm telling you, when you get a nice coordinator and y'all spend that money, you talking about that $1.5 million or that $1 million
Right,
on
right.
a coordinator, then you know you made something. Like, how much is y'all coordinator getting paid? Because please tell me he ain't running off with a meal.
No, no. I think we got our people. They were around the 300 to $500,000
Yeah, nah,
range,
nah. You
and
got
we
that's
paid
when
Odom. We paid our defensive coordinator quite a bit because he had head coaching experience. But offensive coordinator Kendall Briles, nah, he's not getting anything too crazy.
yeah. Well, man, I ain't got anything else for you, man. Make sure you guys are following us on all social media networks. As I said before, follow us at The Fans Edge on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. If you missed the show ever, this show is posted every Monday morning. Um, right when you're up. If you like to go work out, you can listen to the show.
Absolutely.
If you stuck in traffic, you can listen to the show. If you like to get to work early, the show is still out, man. So make sure you're checking it out. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple iTunes. Wherever you like to listen to podcasts, that's where we are. You can find us at The Fans Edge, man. Hey, with that, we're out of here. EG, you got anything to say to the people?
Hey, that was it, man. Shout out Tim coming through. Shout out to the guys that left comments. Shout out to Toast. I remember you leaving a comment. Shout out to you guys for stepping through. Hey, man, you guys give my guy Fantastic Six a follow on Twitter, man. Add him into some of the talks, man. He's big on the dogs. I'm gonna follow Toast on my page, and I'm gonna find you guys. Shout out to y'all for stepping through, man.
Yeah, appreciate you all, man. Y'all have a blessed one. We out.